What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another Pound for Pound ATL. Joined as always by my main man, Jonathan Holder, and today joined by a very special guest, Toby D. Gentlemen,
What
what's going
up?
on today, guys?
Oh man, doing good. How are you doing?
Oh man, not too bad, not too bad. Hey, we got football this week,
Yes,
like
sir.
real live action football, like Falcons, like full speed, hitting people that are not in Falcons jerseys. And dude, I am pumped. Uh,
Yes, I mean, hopefully we'll see. Well, hopefully we'll see some. At least a series, maybe two of the starters. Hopefully,
well, we'll see.
but we'll see. We'll see how it
Right.
goes.
Obviously, the Falcons are down in Miami. They took off down to South Beach, and we got our first joint practice with the Dolphins today. So I guess without much further ado, we might as well just go ahead and get into it. Right off the rip, Andrew Bato, we appreciate you greatly. Let's see if
Oh,
Jonathan is
oh,
on
oh,
his
oh,
bit. Let's see if he's on his game today. Did we catch him slipping? I think we
caught
caught
me
him slipping.
slipping. Thank you,
Hey,
Andrew.
he
Appreciate
said,
it very
What's
much.
up, Andrew?
he says, "What's good, Toby D? Miss you, fam." We
Man,
did.
long time, long time.
Y'all know that when I ran into Toby up at Flowery Branch, I was gonna have to wrangle him onto the show for at least this week, maybe more. We'll see how it goes, but we at least got him this week, and we'll count our blessings on that one.
Yes, absolutely.
Same thing.
God is
Charleston
good.
Nash says, "Toby D, let's go. Thank you,
What's
Jesus." That's
up?
right.
What's up?
You were sorely missed. Drew with another $1.99. We appreciate that. He said, thank the good
Appreciate it,
Lord
Drew.
that Clark Phillps is okay. Yeah, we're going to get
Yeah,
into
man.
that.
Yes.
We're going to get into that here in a little bit, but yes, we that was some good news that we heard coming out of the joint practice.
I'll be honest. I was surprised, and we'll get into this a little. We'll talk about this a little bit more later. I was surprised we actually had it. We got news today like that.
I kind of was as well, but it was good to hear. So before we get into the joint practices, as some of y'all saw on social medias, me and Toby D were up at Flowery Branch on Saturday to catch the last practice before they took off to go to Miami, and it was a pretty good crowd. It wasn't as heavy as the previous Saturday, but it was still a very very good crowd. Uh-oh. Oh, so Andrew says, "Sound like I lost my voice." I think I might have shook the wrong hand up at Flowery Branch. Maybe I'm not 100% sure. I haven't had a
makes me
scratchy.
makes me happy that I did not go this time. Then.
Yeah, I woke up Monday. I was like,
Uh-oh.
we'll,
Uh-oh.
we'll see, we'll see. But now, Toby, what up there on Saturday? What stood out to you, or what caught your eye up there?
Bijan Robinson is he's the real deal, man. As of right now, what he's doing against everybody on the field. Don't matter if it's cornerbacks, don't matter if it's linebackers. He's doing the same thing to everybody. He sets you up with routes like a wide receiver does, and that is crazy to see with running backs. And you're starting to see that trend now where everybody's looking for that Debo Samuel now,
Right.
type version of a back. We already had that in Cordell Patterson, and now you add Bijan in there, and they are spreading offenses out. This is a true spread offense this year that you're going to see. I look for a lot of draw plays out of this team and a lot of empty sets, which we saw. The last thing I've seen is they are killing you over the middle. Like
Right.
guys is streaking wide open over the middle now, and they're just throwing it into a bucket, like over defenders and hitting their receivers in stride. And it's just crazy in the zone defense. So any defense is playing zone against them is going to get wore out in that middle, man.
Yeah, they definitely look to be wanting to exploit the seams this
Yeah.
year. With guys like Jonnu and with guys like Kyle Pitts, obviously, and then the running backs, whether it be out of the backfield or out of the slot. So yeah, that was something that I've noticed. The pure amount of times that we saw this carried over from the Saturday that me and Jonathan were up there, the amount of times that I saw Bijan and Cordell or Bijan and Tyler on the field, that was interesting to see. like you're definitely going to get him like Bijan lined up everywhere, and it's not always going to be like, oh, he's in the slot, so that's definitely where we're going. You know, they very much have the idea of, or at least the disguise of using their guys as decoys to open up other lanes for other guys. So
yeah,
for me, you know, Mac Hollins continued to impress.
yes,
He's really giving me some Sanu vibes. Like if he can be that sure-handed, you know, chain mover, like he was last year in Las Vegas, if he can continue that kind of production here,
yeah.
I think he's going to be a much better addition and a much better asset as a wide receiver too.
Excuse me, you got his name wrong. It's Mac Macho Man Hollins.
Okay, let's go then, baby.
You gotta get it right, man.
Well, okay. We finally got a little bit of an update on why his shirt was in tassels.
Yeah.
It's obviously it's left over from his Miami days, which he kind of had like a little bit of a homecoming, so to speak, in you know, this week down in Miami. But he said he started doing it down there as a way to not absorb some or not have his undershirt get weighed down with all the sweat, and he could get some airflow up in his, you know, in up under the pads and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it was just something down there, and he kept going with it.
It was a thoroughly mundane answer.
I was hoping for something way better.
I was hoping for something like esoteric.
I mean,
you know,
like
something.
Drake was already calling him a caveman, you know, because I think he's rooming with Drake, you know. So, like in an interview, Drake was calling him a caveman. So I was really hoping for something more entertaining than just, you know, it's just to help with heat. but
yeah, he you know, every time I've seen video of him when we watched him in the practice I went to, you know, anytime I hear about him, he just sounds like the guy, you know, didn't hear a lot the first couple days, but then since then it's been like building up on it. And it's wild when you see him in person, like how big
he is a massive dude,
man. Massive.
He is a massive dude. And quick for as big as he is too. He's not slow.
I got Cortez here talking about this is from today, but also like he was doing that at the practice we were at. He was doing this at practices where he's talking about Mac was out there talking spicy during practice. He talks, you know, does like, you know, he's not big enough.
You're too small. Yeah.
Too small. And then I think today they were talking about, he would say something like, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I think he's going to bring, like, right now, yes, Drake is your true number one, but Drake is still a young pup in this league and may not necessarily, like, he gets his voice during the game and you see that where, you know, he's chirping at DBs or what have you. But in practice, we didn't really hear him.
Yeah.
We didn't really see him, you know, like in that way where Mac brings that energy, like from the time he steps on the field, which I think is good for him, you know. Let's see. Willie Doc says, "What up, Toby? Jonathan Jr.
What up, fam?"
He says, "Always good to see a cameo from Toby. Everybody is enjoying the fact that Mr. Toby D is here." All right, so let's keep it on moving. Unless there was something else you had from Saturday, Toby. Was there anything else that you had?
Now I hear what y'all say about Mac Macho Man Hollins, but I'm gonna call him Mac Eat with Your Hands Hollins.
Mac Eat with Your Hands.
He said he don't want to catch none of us not eating with our hands because that's what they for.
Being soft.
Man, I had an auntie. That's all she did. I had an auntie. That's all she did. Ate with her hands. She never used utensils at all. And she would always say that you lose out the seasonings when you eat with utensils. So that's why she would always eat with her hands all the time.
That is definitely an interesting take that I have never heard. I will continue to use a fork, sir.
I do a really good job of washing those dishes for a very good reason.
That's right. Hey, look, I understand, completely understand. You know, God gave you two good things to use, but He also gave you a brain that invented a fork. So
that is what separates us from the animal kingdom.
That's right.
Is our ability to use tools
And I
Oh,
appreciate
Fork is a
those
tool.
very much who
that's right.
came up with the fork and the
Absolutely.
spoon. Thank you, Lord.
Mhm. Now, Tony Wright's got a good point here that I
Let's
find is
go.
interesting as we're talking about Mac Hollins and Drake. Frank Darby is going to make the roster, Tony says, and other than special teams, he's going to make a contribution as a receiver this season. Now, I normally I love Tony's takes on a lot of things. And normally sometimes it just makes you smile because we do think differently. But I don't think he's too far off here. And the reason why I say that because a few times on Saturday, Frank Darby was running with the ones and
Yeah.
getting some receptions from Desmond. I know right now they're mixing and matching and all that jazz, but Frank Darby has been stacking some good days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, reading the observations is it seems like every time it's Frank Darby had another good day, and Frank Darby had it's just day after day you keep hearing about it. Now, hopefully, it's not all just we keep hearing about it in the camp notes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get into a preseason game at minimum, and we see some kind of production. We see him actually flash out there. He doesn't have to be the guy, and he doesn't have to be catching
No.
10 passes in a preseason game. But show me some flashes, show me
That's it.
something, and that's all I need coming out of preseason. And then as the season goes along, the guy can pick up some
If he can
pick up
contribute,
some
great.
production here and there. Then that's good. We don't need him to be even a guy that gets 50 receptions. We just need him to be a guy that can give us say 30 to 40
Maybe even less than that, as long as they are it's the time
impactful.
right, the times where he's out there and everybody is so worried about everyone else
Yeah.
that he can come down with a crucial third down or something like that.
Yep.
Art Amore says, "What's up, P for P?"
What's up?
He says, "I was out
Art's aroma.
Aroma Amore." God. Anyway, sorry, English. Only been speaking it for almost 40 years. And anyway, okay. He said, "What's up, P for B? I was out there Saturday as well, and I'm kind of worried that mostly what we are seeing are these check downs and short passes." Okay. I see this as being has become the concern of the community this offseason. Is the lack of deep passes. All right. First, I will say that Ridder isn't necessarily doesn't have the greatest deep pass completion percentage, at least his time in college.
It wasn't horrible.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't that's not his game in the sense. Okay. Here's the deal though, and I'm gonna make a statement that you're gonna go, ugh, but that's all right. Just bear with me. How many rings did Tom Brady get with a deep ball? The year they had Randy Moss,
Yeah.
they got beat.
Yep.
What did
I was
Tom
about to
Brady
say
kill
that.
you with? Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Gronkowski. Where did he kill you? Dinkin and Duncan short over the field, just
Yeah. Short
being
the
a
intermediate passes.
right.
They killed you because they would get guys open. And Brady would throw to the guys in stride to allow them to catch the pass and make plays after the catch.
Now,
Yeah.
If you do
I'm
that well enough, then
I'm
you're
not
good.
saying that a deep pass don't win you games. Me and Jonathan did a video talking about, explosive plays. And on average, you have 6 plays to go 75 yards. Straight up. Because on average, you get the ball at the 25-yard line and you have 6 plays to score. So you got 6 plays to go 75 yards. These are league averages. So yes, hitting a deep ball in today's game is an important part of it. But I think the type of offense that Arthur is building is not predicated on the deep ball. And before you come at me with the Chiefs and stuff like that, go back and watch this past year's Chiefs. Mahomes wasn't killing people deep because everybody started playing drop 8. They started dropping everybody into coverage and forcing Mahomes to make throw after throw at the intermediate level. Mm-hmm. This is what in modern NFL defenses are moving towards, because the punch of, the spread offenses that have come into the league, the throwing the ball, deep, throwing it, 40, 50 times a game, like the counter punch that the defenses have rolled out over the years is, too high safeties, is drop 8, is all this other stuff. They're refusing to give up the deep ball. So I honestly believe, and I've been saying it all offseason, I honestly believe that Arthur Smith is coming with the counter punch to that defensive punch,
Right.
which is, well, you saw it today, and we'll get into it here in a minute. We're going to beat you up, and we're going to force you to come down in the box. And when you come down in that box, then it's play action pass over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's the game plan. Like, so,
But like, also I'm looking at it from the perspective of, for all we know, and I wasn't there. We didn't see every single play that was done in the scrimmage, in the 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. 7-on-7 is a different matter, but like especially the 11-on-11s. First of all, you're actually looking at trying to get a ball out before you're sacked. Okay, that's one thing. And two, we're asking essentially a rookie quarterback. Yeah, he had 4 games last year, but I'm going to consider this like rookie season part 2.
yeah.
Right. And we're asking this guy to go out there and make the reads. And if when he goes out there and he's processing the play post snap, and if his reads tell him, hey, first read is deep, second read is intermediate, third is here, and he goes through his progressions and finds the right guy and throws the ball properly where it's supposed to go, then I don't care if it's a 5-yard pass, a 10-yard pass, a 30-yard pass. I don't care. Like, take the ball wherever it's supposed to go. And so a lot of we may actually have been calling a lot of plays where there's a deep shot there. But again, like you said, defenses are geared towards stopping that deep pass. So, and especially in our case, we've got like a Jesse Bates and a Richie Grant that are out there that are making it tough to get openings for those deep passes. And if he's reading that, instead of like, I'm just going to throw it anyways, see what happens. He's trying to play it as if he's in a game. He's trying to make that read as if he's in a game. Now, if a coach comes and says, I don't care what you do or what you see, I want you to throw it up there because I want to see what happens.
Right.
Then that's one thing. But if they're telling him, make your reads and throw where your reads, where that takes you, then if that ends up being a lot of checkdowns, for one, that's good for our defense. That means our defense is doing the thing it's supposed to be doing. And two, that's good on him for making the right reads.
Yep.
Right.
So, we don't know enough. We don't have the context of what all of that stuff is going on.
Get a defense some credit. I mean, the defense is not allowing a lot of deep passes. Like you said, you got Jesse Bates back there. And now you can play that cover 3 with somebody like a Jesse Bates back there, no problem. I mean, you got Richie Grant, man. I'm very impressed in what he's doing. Reading routes now. I mean, this man about nearly jumped a whip route. You know how difficult it is to jump one of those routes? He didn't fall for the whip. He stayed patient and almost jumped that joker. And you're seeing him recognize stuff coming down in the box. Him and Jesse Bates gonna have a lot of fun. And I'm predicting a lot more big nickel this year than we probably have ever seen under any defensive coordinator with Jalen Hawkins out there, Jesse Bates and Rich Grant, because they were playing a lot of big nickel
on
Saturday too. And when they got that interception, they was in a big nickel, set. So I'm projecting a lot of big nickel.
Especially if we keep getting dinged on cornerback, because you might force somebody else. When we'll get in that here in a second. Our boys out of your Falcon mind says, boys, I don't care where the ball goes or who gets it as long as we're stacking W's. And at the end of the day, like I said, when I started this whole diatribe, at the end of the day, I said, this is the storyline that is coming out of the Falcons that the fans are latching on to this year. Right. And so, which is fine. I get it. I've seen enough like deep passes, like the 2 practices I went and saw. I saw enough, attempts at deep passes to go, okay, y'all are practicing it enough to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
And if that's what they're going to do, then I'm fine with it. Like, because with the type of guys that we have now with Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Mac Hollins, those guys and Scotty Miller and those guys can grab just about any pass and house it from just about anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that a lot of people like when Arthur Smith had that, offense humming up there in Tennessee, it was a lot about, creating space and getting guys open and allowing them to run after the catch. And I think that's what they're moving towards here. And well, like I said, we'll see how it goes. But that was the that's the deal there. Okay. Moving on to the next topic. We saw, and I hope I spelled that right. Anyway, just look down.
You did.
It looks good to me.
Sometimes I have the spelling capacity of a third grader and it shows. Anyway, so we got a happy face back and a familiar face back. I say back for the first time this offseason on the practice field. Calais Campbell has suited up in a training camp environment, and which was great to see. It was great to see him out there, and we didn't see him in any of the clips, but we heard that Jonnu Smith was back practicing. He had missed, as of Saturday, he had missed 4 practices in a row. But they had made a comment that they felt like he was going to be back by the joint practice. Yeah. And it may have been a thing where Arthur was like, look, I would much rather have you at the joint practice, go ahead and rest up some extra days. So anyway, it was good to have both of those guys back. Willie Doc, we appreciate you greatly.
Willie Doc.
Willie, man, appreciate it, bro.
He says, I see some Alex Anthopoulos in Terry Fontenot. Despite injuries, Fontenot has created depth and knows how to acquire players to stay competitive. Braves 1-21 due to great GM moves. Just saying. Yes, like with something we had done a video early on in the offseason, I definitely feel like the floor has been raised. And these two guys we're talking about here, Campbell and Smith, are part of that floor being raised, part of that talent floor. Because today the first of unofficial depth chart came out.
Yep.
And what I found interesting on that is it was done in like you could call it a 5-2-4. No, like all right. Anyway, it was 3 down line or 3 D line, 2 outside linebackers. So in my mind, the way my mind works, that's 5 linemen.
Right, but that just sounds like a 3-4 to me. Like that's what it sounds like.
Right. So
if they're putting 3 different rows of D linemen and the front guys, so you got Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, Calais Campbell. Onyemata is your nose. Grady is one of your 3-4 D end. Calais Campbell's the other 3-4 D end. And then you got Bud Dupree and Ebiketie on either side as your outside rush back.
Here's the go ahead. I was going to say the interesting part is that you've got Bud Dupree listed as a starter over Lorenzo Carter.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. It doesn't mean anything, but it's just interesting to see where the coaches have this stuff in their mind at this point in the off season.
Yeah.
Once again, you had 2 tight ends listed as starters. So you had Jonnu Smith and Pitts, and then you only had 2 wide receivers, which was Drake London. So you had it in a 12 personnel.
Yeah.
Well, it was the sign, which I thought was interesting.
Essentially it's all your base defense, because we will probably see that depending on what teams we face that like to run the ball, if that comes out a lot more. But it really doesn't mean too much. 3-4, 5-2, it just depends on how they line up, because if they line up a certain way in a 3-4 defense where you have the guys playing in a 4 tech, on your ends or whatnot, then that would be the 3-4 defense, and you have a guy in the middle, but then you'll have your 3 guys maybe lined up head up on the guards and the center. Then that would make it your 5-2-4 defense. So it's just going to depend on how they line up they'll be able to manipulate it any way they need to do it. They have the versatility now to do that.
And that's the thing is, like, I think fans themselves are stuck on the nomenclature of like 4-3, 3-4. And if
Yeah.
you've heard coaches the last 5-6 years really talk about it, it doesn't matter. And I've
Yeah.
spent the last couple seasons and all seasons listening to like coaching podcasts, and like the nomenclature part does not matter. It's
Yeah.
literally about like what personnel packages that we have out there. Let's see here. Dave, we appreciate greatly another $10.
Appreciate it, Dave.
He says,
Dave.
we all know that Coach Smith whips out his high school playbook during these joint practices and preseasons. The offense and defense play calls were vanilla as vanilla ice cream. That's okay. You bring up
Every
a point
coach,
there.
every
Yeah,
coach does that
yeah,
by and large.
right. And you bring up a point that I was saying up at Flowery Branch on Saturday. Anything they're willing to show a hill full of people, they have to completely understand that it'll end up on the internet. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we ain't showing you anything spectacular. And so, yes, we're not seeing a ton of deep shots. Maybe it's a deal where they do it, you know, by indoors or behind closed doors or in closed practice. It doesn't. None of that matters, right? It is a deal of working on the basics and the fundamentals. That's what you're doing in training camp.
Right.
And that's what you're doing during preseason. You're going through the basic movements and making sure that you have that stuff right. So I do find it interesting what they are willing to show, like the full house formation that we saw on Saturday with what looked like it was bracketing. Ridder was Pitts on one side, Cordell on the other side, and it was either Algier or Bijan behind him. And I thought that was an extremely interesting like diamond or full house formation to be rolling out there. But it speaks to the versatility, as Toby was talking about, even with the defense.
Yeah, and then that exact, you come out looking exactly that same way, and then all of a sudden you shift or motion out, and next thing you know, you got 3 wide receivers out there with Algier or Bijan in the backfield.
Yep.
Or Cordero in the backfield, and both the other running backs are out in formation somewhere. So like it gives you all kinds of flexibility that you can do something like that and run it one play, come back, look exactly the same initially, then shift back out and
do something completely different. That's the fun of it.
Now I'll tell you what I've been spotting, and it's very interesting. It's the recognition of what they're seeing, because that same TD that Bijan got today was the same play that they ran in practice on Saturday. What shows you they're recognizing what the defense is that's not just Atlanta Falcons, and they're able to run that same play against the defense that they're looking at and get another touchdown off the same play. So what that tells me is there is a high level of intelligence already in this offense that I'm seeing, especially in Bijan, and he's just his rookie year. But he understands the offense because he's already pretty much played in it with Steve Sarkisian over there in Texas.
There were definitely similar aspects.
Yeah.
Now this right here, when I saw this, brought a tear to my eye. When I saw this today, like I about broke down and started singing 1930 hymnals and stuff like that. But no, but this Falcons win in the trenches came from one of the more like unbiased sources. Yep. And the reason why I say that is because as practice was going on today, depending on who was tweeting it out, you were getting like some serious slants going on. If it was a like beat reporter type guy for the Dolphins, the Falcons look like trash and the Dolphins look like world beaters. If it was the beat reporters for the Falcons, the Falcons were doing really good and like the Dolphins were stumbling and bumbling. But you had Cameron Wolf, I believe that's right. Cameron Wolf from the NFL Network was down there, and he reports on everybody. Like, he just goes from training camp to training camp during this time of year, and he reports on everybody. So it was, relatively unbiased. And one of the comments that he made is like, nobody really won the day, like team wise. Like the Dolphins made splash plays, and the, Falcons had what seemed like to be a little bit more consistency. But what he did say was that the Falcons came away like he felt like they won the majority of the trench battles on both sides, offensive and defensive. And buddy, that just made me like, because when was the last time we won on both sets of the? How many years has it been that we've been saying if we can just fix the trenches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
they're fixed, but it was nice to hear against another team, that isn't pulling punches or what have you. They're out there trying to win just as hard. That,
Yeah.
we came away victorious in that sense. I thought that
Yeah.
was very encouraging to hear.
Yeah, and it was super encouraging. Like that's the thing I was worried. Like we've been practicing against ourselves for the past 2 weeks. Now we've been hearing good things about the defensive line. We've been hearing good things about the DBs. We've
Right.
been hearing all of that. But again, it's maybe like the first day or two, you get out there and practice, and the defense does their thing. Okay, it's first couple days. Offense hasn't really, they got to get their timing down a little bit better. And then as the practices started going on, you did see the offense win some more. And there were a couple days where they won the day, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Oh yeah.
But the offense has gotten better and better, and getting their wins along the way. But still, you kept hearing like the defensive line looked really good, the DBs looked really good, tight coverage all over the place, and this and that and the other. But then you just start to think, all right, the defense is sounding good. Does that mean our defense is good, or does it mean our offense is horrible?
Right.
And, right. So, or is the offense really good? The defense is horrible, but you kind of can't go that way with what we've been seeing. So now you go to Miami, and so my worry was I kept going through and looking for like how are things going? How are things going? How are things going? I'm hitting Twitter up all day long while I'm doing my work, and I'm worried about like they just look outmatched,
Right.
Because I remember one year we went up and it was it might have been Miami when they had Sue.
Are you talking about like the
No,
Texans?
the Texans.
Yeah, when they still had
Watt.
JJ Watt. Yeah, and we were
they still had
absolutely getting
JJ Watt.
roasted.
Yeah,
Like,
and
our O-line was just couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, O-line looked good up until we did the joint practices.
Right.
Then you go to Texas and you hear about the joint practices, and you're like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah.
This is not. That it just gives you like you just got a bad feeling from that. Doesn't mean that they couldn't change around, but you just get that bad feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here, I was worried I was going to have that feeling coming out of. Now we may go the next couple of days and things completely change
And
around.
get
Who
cooked
knows?
all the way around. Who knows?
But as of right now, like after today, I feel a lot better about our defense. I feel good about the offense. I think the offense, the bread and butter of this offense is going to be pounding you with the run, intermediate, like moving the chains kind of offense, with the occasional, like we're going to pound you so much that you're going to, like you said, you're going to drop that eighth guy in there. You're going to go single high safety.
And
We're going to play action pass, and then we're going to beat you deep. Like that kind of stuff is going to happen. But I don't think that's going to be the bread and butter. The bread and butter is, anywhere between 5 to 20 yards is your passing game, with probably some screens thrown in and some different things like that, but also with a really good, strong running game. And if you can do that really well most of the times, you're going to win a lot of games. And I've just been worried about the defense. Like, is this defense actually as good as what we're hearing coming out of camp? And this is encouraging. It's an encouraging sign.
Oscar brings up, he's like, he says our, play of Tyreek Hill and, oh crap.
Yep. You back?
What is the deal? God dang it. We there?
There you
We're
go.
back?
Yep.
Okay.
We're back. Everything froze on my second.
Yeah,
it did for a little bit. Yeah.
I saw it. It was my computer did the stupid, like, it don't do nothing all day long. And then we start this and it's like, hey, let's do something
I
stupid.
came back and messed it up.
No, it did the same thing last week. Don't think it was you. All right. Anyway, he's talking about like the one play where Trey Flowers got cooked by Tyreek Hill. I mean, look,
who don't get cooked by Tyreek Hill?
I'm going to say is Tyreek Hill in 5 seconds. Yeah, it's one-on-one. Yeah, you're going to get cooked by Tyreek Hill. If you didn't, like, anyway, so yeah, it was definitely. I don't know. You got you know, you had Terrell making some good plays, almost come away with an interception. You had Troy Anderson with a pick six in the red zone. Sound like our red zone defense really was like doing well. I'm encouraged by the first day. It did sound like both defenses
Yeah.
were doing well, and that tends to be like how it goes in like one of these first joint practices. So I'll be interested to how the next couple days go, and then how the
Yeah.
preseason game, obviously on Friday, goes. I'm really hyped about the preseason game. I'm ready to see like live moving, live action
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. Me too.
Yes, I will be super excited, and I'm looking forward to two things. I'm looking forward to just watching live Falcons football, no matter
Yes.
who's playing. But I'm going to be I'm excited to sit here and watch it with all of you guys, the community, the chat.
right.
I'm excited to watch it with you guys. If you will deign to watch it with us, as we so you can watch the Falcons and you can listen to us talk all our BS and
Just watch Jonathan throw his hat. I can almost guarantee you there'll be a hat throw. Unless you've calmed down in your old age, Jonathan. If you've
I have calmed down somewhat in my old age.
I tell you, back in the day when me and Jonathan used to live in the same house, he like said, he's the one that got me watching football all the way around. And like, dude, there would not be a game that went by without a hat throwing and but yeah, anyway. So last little topic, and then we can just kind of get into whatever. Clark Phillps had a scare. He went down in early on in practice, and the cart had to come out and get him. And we're like, oh man, come on. We just did this with Jeff Okudah on what was it, Friday, and now you got Clark Phillps going down. But we got news like pretty quickly, which was even more so encouraging.
Yeah.
That it seems like he avoided anything major. That the cart was very much just a precaution, which it seems like that's been like the trend this year.
Yeah.
Like if you get any kind of injury, just stay down. We'll go get the cart. Don't want to take no chances. So, but it sounds like he's day to day now. So don't know how long that's gonna last, because Hennessy's still out with his day to day. So we're gonna see how that goes. I swear I thought Casey Hayward had signed somewhere. MJ says, I wish we could bring back Casey Hayward. He played very well with us in a short time before he got hurt.
I will say I would not be opposed to it. However, we may not have I don't know what he would want, in a contract. So I'm not sure, we could probably figure out some way to make that work. But
God bless it. What is going on?
But I'll say that it's likely that they don't sign Hayward simply because he just may not fit the kind of defense that they're looking for with Nielsen.
That was kind of my point, is like Hayward is more of a like a zone guy. And I don't know, it sounds like they might be wanting to play more man.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see a lot of man.
Right.
I mean, it's the same philosophy as Rex Ryan. He said he would rather be beat deep playing man than to be giving you all them cheap yards.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're in front of your guy 10 yards off. No, I like this philosophy, man. Let's get to this man. Let these guys man up on them. And look, if you get beat, you get beat. But at least you'll have a better way of seeing what you need to do next year if these corners can't hack it the way that you want. So you just need to let these guys just play. And I think that front man is gonna be more powerful than what people think.
And we're gonna play zone. I mean, they're not gonna play every single time.
Play zone. Yeah, certain situation. Yeah.
King 7 has a good point. He says, I feel the defense is going to be good as long as the front line is a beast. Everything falls into place. 90% of the time, the D line goes, the defense goes. In a lot of aspects. I mean, you can just look at how Ron Rivera builds his teams. He focuses more on the D line than anything else. Like when Todd Bowles had everything like really humming with New York and with Arizona, it was because of the D line. And the D line, if they can speed up the quarterback and rush his decision making process, then your corners don't have to be as stout. So, we'll see like how this is going to work. I really am encouraged because it sounded like we were getting pretty made like a good amount of what would have been sacks. Ebiketie was looking good. Jelly Justin Jelly Ellis even like I had a good bull rush. And I'm trying to think like Zach Harris has been showing out.
Bud Dupree
Yeah.
looked good. Like basically think of a big like kind of front line starter guy on the defensive line, and they've at one point or another they have shown a spark.
Right.
They have shown something. Like and yeah, it's super encouraging to hear even in this situation where okay, Zach Harrison, we didn't necessarily we heard him early on, but like it's been a few days or whatever. But like he's looked good against the Falcons, and now whenever he goes up to Miami, we still continue to hear good things. Again, that's kind of that same.
Yeah, you want to stack those. You want to stack those good days. MJ says Turi has been a very underrated signing in a very small time. Showed out today. He heard that D line is deep, and that's got to be one of the more encouraging things.
Yeah.
With Lorenzo Carter and Ebiketie and Bud Dupree, like Zach Harrison showing out, Turi getting signed late and contributing. If we keep that going, man, I would love to have something that we can start bringing back the moniker of the Grits Blitz, again, and all that jazz. Even if it's not that style of defense, but just bringing that kind of deal. Billy says, "What does Timmy Horn look like to y'all?" He's looked like the number one like backup nose tackle, like as far as but hey, for an undrafted guy in his second year, that's big to me. Yeah. Like he's a guy who is anchoring that second string D line. And he's a guy who has looked good in the small samples that we have seen in training camp. But that like the Timmy Horns is who you watch preseason for.
Yeah.
Like if anybody's like, oh, why are you watching? Why are you wasting your time with preseason? It's because of guys like Timmy Horn. The guys that may be counted on if somebody goes down. I mean, Timmy Horn got some snaps last year because some guys went down,
Yeah.
So
it's as long as he can be the guy that comes in and gives a guy a breather, and there's not a significant drop off. Like I'm not expecting him to come in and be a David Underwood. I'm not expecting him to come in and be a Grady Jarrett or a Calais Campbell or any of those guys. But if he could come in and not just be the complete weak link whenever he's asked to do that, then that's all I need from him.
Oh yeah, definitely 100%, 100%.
He had a great preseason last year, which earned him a roster spot last year, and hopefully that continues. But he can carry it over because he kind of went quiet in the snaps that they did give him in the season. So hopefully in his second year with us, he can get a little further along with Ryan Nielsen at the helm and running things. So I'm excited to see. Right now, Ryan Nielsen seems like he already has those guys playing physical up front. I mean, they were busting through that offensive line today like it was water. So, that was shocking to see in a sense because I'm not used to seeing that. I hadn't seen that much in the last few years or so. But seeing that today, man, was huge.
Very much so. Very much so.
I'm looking. I'm the thing. There was a poll that I saw on Twitter pop up or X or whatever. And
I saw somebody call it Twix, and I was
I saw that. Yes,
yeah, I think it was Rosenstein.
I saw it on Twix, and it was like, "Who are you looking for? Like, which Falcon player?" And it was like Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, or Ridder. And so I
Yeah.
was like, I chose Ridder because I pretty much know what for the most part, know what I'm getting from Kyle Pitts. I feel like I have a good handle on what I'm going to get from Bijan most likely. And Drake London, I know what I have a good feeling about what I'm going to get from him. Ridder, I think I know, but he's kind of the most uncertain for me. So I chose him. But if because it wasn't there, that was what I chose. But honestly, the thing I am most excited to watch, both in the preseason and in the upcoming season, just in general, is the defense, and not just because we got, but the coach. I want to see like how the coach coaches,
Yep.
how he pulls, how he game plans and calls plays and situational play calling and all those things. I'm super interested in seeing how that goes. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I am very let's see. So of course we've hit the time of the show where we get into y'all's questions, like mainly like focusing on y'all's questions. So MJ kicks us off with what about D'Angelo Malone? I've heard nothing about him. Had very high hopes and he showed flashes last season. He showed some flashes the times that we have been up there, or the times that he hasn't like made it onto any like highlight reel. But I think he's gonna play that, that rush linebacker role. He has the ability to drop in coverage also while rushing as well. I wanted to kind of look in the first unofficial depth chart. He's listed as third outside linebacker behind Audio Gandeji. So that's just going to be something to keep an eye on as we go into
well, and when
preseason.
you say that, I really haven't heard that much about Ogundeji. I mean,
No,
I think I've seen his name pop up once
right,
in a camp observation thing. He
Yeah.
didn't exactly flash when we were there when I was there at practice.
right.
Doesn't sound, I didn't hear you guys mention him, so he doesn't sound like he flashed well, on Saturday.
He definitely hasn't like flashed in that sense to me. Um, so all right, Toby. Here's he asked me, but I'm asking you. He
Uh,
says He says Jr. So I'm saying Toby, Dupree or Carter. Who starts the first defensive series, week one? Who you
I'm
think?
going Dupree.
I
I'm
think
going
so.
Dupree. I think because he brings more experience to the table. And nothing against Lorenzo Carter, but Dupree has shown when he's healthy, he can make some things happen. So
Oh
hopefully
yeah,
we can get a healthy Dupree that can come out here and make some waves in this defense. I think he's going to excel better in this, New Orleans style defense than he has in other defenses besides Pittsburgh Steelers, of course.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm going Dupree week one.
Jonathan, you got any different answer? Dupree or Carter?
No, I think Dupree is definitely the guy that's going to go out there as the starter week one.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
but again, this could all change depending on if they're coming out with something like a little more pass heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe they like Carter in a
In
coverage
coverage,
role.
and it could be. All right,
Yeah.
so another hard hitting question out of your Falcon mind says, whose jersey y'all snatching up this season? Jonathan, you snatching up any jersey?
If I do,
There you go.
it will likely be um, it'll likely be a Robinson jersey.
Bijan.
Yeah.
There you go. Toby, if you
I'm
snatch up a jersey,
I'm sticking with Kyle Pitts. I want me a Kyle Pitts jersey.
there
Y'all
you
know
go.
that's my guy, and I love Bijan. But I think Pitts is going to have himself a magnificent year
I
this
think so.
year.
I think
So
he's going to
yeah, I would
bounce
snatch
back.
up. Yeah,
I will not be snatching up any jersey at all this year. Those things are relatively expensive,
yeah,
and the fact
true.
that out of the three jerseys I own, two of them are hanging on a wall behind me. So I'm very particular about like if I'm going to buy a jersey. This last one I bought was a custom jersey that has my name on it. So that one I can wear. They ain't never trading me. So
Yeah,
they can't cut me. So if I were to buy one though, it would be a Grady. I've always said that I wanted a Grady jersey. I think he'll retire as a Falcon, if I buy another player's jersey, it'll probably be a Grady jersey.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, I saw this. Tony, he thinks starting linebacker is going to be Lorenzo Carter on one side, Bud Dupree on the other, insides Anderson and Ellis. And I mean, if we just go based on the depth chart that I grant this is like a depth chart early in preseason. But if we go based on this depth chart, Bud Dupree is behind or is in front of Lorenzo Carter. Doesn't mean that they couldn't have both those guys on the field, but I have a feeling that if Bud Dupree's in, Carter's not going to be in initially, and then Ebiketie will be the other guy.
Right. I tend to agree there. So let's see. Okay. Fat Boy says, any news on how Bergeron looked today? He won his reps. From what I heard, he wasn't looking like he handled Christian Wilkinson like pretty well today. So that's encouraging. It's something to keep an eye on. I don't know if y'all heard any different.
Well, so the good thing is like when it comes to like say offensive linemen, what I didn't want to see was something like what I saw from some Miami folks, which is I heard three names for their offensive linemen come up in observations. I didn't hear anybody other than saying the Dolphins should have brought in a right tackle like the Falcons did with McGarry.
Right. Well, I did hear that McGarry got beat from Jalen Phillps, but that's not surprising because I think at this junction of McGarry's career, he's probably never going to be able to handle a speed rush.
Yeah.
I mean, he just look, he couldn't handle Akeem Hicks's speed rush. That was a 300-pound man coming around him. So, I think that, but they know that about him. And so they work to his strengths, not his, weaknesses. So anyway, but that's the only name I really heard offensive line wise, which is good.
So if we didn't hear his name, assuming he did well. That's the rule.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game with offensive linemen.
Right. Grady said, or MJ says, Grady at least 10 sacks this year? ? I think so. He can't be double teamed almost every play now. I don't know if he'll hit double digits, but I expect him to have a very good Grady year. I expect him to be pushing close to double digits, I would think, with, Calais and Onyemata and Bud Dupree and all those guys. You're not going to be able to just focus on Grady.
Yeah, if we can get anything more, like if we can have Ebiketie step up, if we can get maybe a vintage Bud Dupree from Pittsburgh days, Bud Dupree, if we can get that, if we can or close to that, if we can get some really good push from say a David Onyemata, if those things happen, then absolutely you're not gonna you're going to see more one-on-ones for Jarrett. And so could he get to 10? I think he can. It's still gonna be hard. There's not a ton of interior defensive linemen throughout history that get to double-digit sacks. You got your JJ Watts, you got your Calais Campbells, we have Calais Campbell on this team, but you got your Aaron Donalds, but like for every one of those guys, you get guys that a really good season for almost any interior defensive lineman sacks wise is like 6.5 to 8.5. If you get 6.5 to 8.5 sacks from your interior tackles, 9 times out of 10, you're like, we are set.
Yeah, man.
But
I think if he's sniffing close to 10, I'll be like, it's that 8.5, 9 range. I'll be ecstatic. This isn't really a question, but I'm going to address it anyway. Toby, what do you think? I disagree with the Atlanta Falcons organization letting third string quarterback Logan Woodside wear number 11. How you feel about that, Toby?
You know what? I don't even know why he has 11 on, but I mean, you know what? It is what it is at this point. I kind of would thought that he to me, hadn't earned the right to wear number 11 coming to the Atlanta Falcons, especially with him being the third string guy. But that's just me. That's just my thoughts about it. And after playing on the same team as this guy that we know not too
Yeah,
long
but
ago.
like honestly, like it's like I don't even necessarily in baseball, it wouldn't bother me if somebody now they've retired those numbers, so they're not going to get them. But you don't retire numbers in football because
Right.
there's just too many guys on the team. It's just not a feasible thing. I really don't care. It doesn't hurt that when Julio left, that he was kind of like I get it. You know, your buddy was gone, all this other stuff, but the kind of the way that all ended, just
He let
I don't have a bad thing to say about the guy as when he was a Falcon and when he played for us, he did some great things with us, and I will always appreciate that. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't care. You know, 11 doesn't mean isn't a big deal to me.
my I'd be
Two. Bubba Gump here. Like two is a little bit. I can understand a little bit more. 11, I'm just kind of like, it is what
for
it is.
me, if like I think Arthur said it well that he would at least for a while wouldn't give 11 to a wide receiver or 2 to a quarterback. So
Yeah, yeah. Wide receiver. You know, even if somebody as a wide receiver wanted 11, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, my
Big
thing
deal
is
to me.
that I think my thing is that Julio, regardless, I don't know when he's going in the Hall of Fame, but he's going in there. Um, he's got numbers to get in the Hall of Fame, and so that's how I be looking at it. Like Woodside's probably not even going to be in the NFL too much longer after that. After this, anyway. So I just feel like if you got guys got Hall of Fame numbers, and they're going to make it in the Hall of Fame, those jerseys should not be worn by guys that's probably not going to make it into the Hall of Fame at all at any point in their career. 84 is justified with Cordell Patterson because he's definitely going into the Hall of Fame with what he's put up. And unfortunately, he will probably beat out Roddy White, who wore that same number, and go into the Hall of Fame before Roddy even gets a chance to walk on stage and get a gold jacket. So, I mean, that's just how I be looking at it.
Yeah,
Willie Dock.
I'm with Willie. Like I'm trying to remember who was number 11. No,
Uh,
I'm not gonna go that far. But until Julio apologizes, I'm good on anybody wearing 11. Like I really don't care. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. Like if it's Woodside, it could be who's the long snapper? Who's our
oh
long
no,
snapper?
Liam
Yeah,
McCullum.
yeah, like
Oh,
Liam
come
McCollum.
on,
No,
Have
don't
man.
give
Liam
him.
McCollum wear number 11. Don't care.
Don't give it a
Don't
Liam.
care.
Now I like. There's things that people get like more like up in arms about than I tend to. I'm not much on the number thing itself, because it's not that big a deal to me. But I understand where people get like attached to it. It's like every off season Hall of Fame is like awarded by face shields and visors by some, which I find to be hilarious. So it's all about the aesthetic for some folks. So uh moving right along, Dre says, how do you guys feel about Deion Jones to the Panthers? I love it. Absolutely
Love
love
it.
it.
Yep, love it.
Especially
I want him to be in there when Tyler Algier comes through the hole. I want him to meet Tyler Algier,
right in
Deion
the hole.
Jones in the hole. Let's see what happens.
Right. It's like as long as especially if it's the like Browns Deion Jones or like okay. Let's just see if he makes the roster.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I don't wish anybody ill. I really don't. Not even Julio. Even after all that jazz, it is what it is, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's a business. Like this past weekend, we saw Matt Ryan back at Flowery Branch, and you got the comment where him talking to Ridder saying, "Hey man, anything you need, just reach out to me." You know, so like everybody handles their stuff differently. So it is what it is. I'm not. I don't wish
yeah.
anybody ill will unless you like. No, I don't wish anybody ill will. So but I would be interested to see if, Deion Jones would be willing to stick his nose in there with Tyler Algier coming downhill. Now, just see how it went. You know what I'm saying? I'd be interested. Let's see. Yes, John, we definitely need to get that going. Event here soon, probably before the season starts. Let's see. I'm gonna get this up before my internet crashes out again.
The other thing, Shabby's
Oh
now
yeah,
a coach.
yeah. Shabby's a coach now. Now I thought that was interesting. It kind of makes sense with Dave Ragone pulling double duty as OC and QB coach. It's nice to see Shab in, who has a ton of experience in the league, a ton of experience, playing quarterback at various levels from backup to starter to what have you. Like, he should be able to impart a lot of good knowledge onto Ridder, which I'm happy to see that. All right, before we get going too much further, remind y'all once again that next Saturday, the 19th of August, a bunch of your favorite creators will be out at the Taco Mac off of Dallas Highway in Marietta, Georgia. The address is there on screen, but just if you'll Google Taco Mac at Marietta, we'll be there around 7 p.m. I'm going to try to commandeer the patio outside. So come by, say hello, grab a brewski or some wings or what have you. But if you do decide to do that, make sure you tip everybody well so they don't get mad at us. But yeah, so Out of Your Falcon Mind will be there. Smitty Sports Machine, Big Low Country, Twisted Torch, Ronnie Fleek from New Millennium Falcon, and Uncle Steve from Uncle Steve's Lounge. And obviously, me and Jonathan will be there, and we will get rocking on that one. So I just wanted to make sure to bring that up. If y'all are in the area, make sure y'all come by and say what's up. Jonathan might even buy you a drink. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not putting that. No, that's a joke. That is a joke. Please don't come up in here asking Jonathan to buy you a drink. Let's see. I'm going to run through a few more of these as we start to wrap this up. Del Rey says, "Oh, snap." He didn't say snap, but I'm saying snap. Oh, snap. Toby D, what's good?
It's good. It's good.
There it is. Let's see.
Trying to get it better. Trying to get it better.
There it is. Let's see. Dre says, you got Schaub as a coach on the team and Matt Ryan as the media expert for the Falcons. Do you guys think something special is brewing in the A? I don't know if it's special. Like, I can't. That's something I told Jonathan when we went up there. Logically, it doesn't make any sense for us to be excited, right? Like, because you're coming off of what, 4 losing seasons now? 4 or 5 losing seasons. Last time you had a good season was 2018, 2019, something like that.
2017.
2017.
It was the year Super Bowl. We made it back to the playoffs.
That was it.
I haven't had a
After that, right? It's been downhill from there, right? And so, but I've been to training camp every year, since then, and this one does feel a little different. The team feels a little different. They feel like they have a different energy about them. So I don't know if that's going to result in anything. We supposedly have an easy schedule. The division is wide open as it's ever been. So, like, there's a real good chance to do something special. And I hope they do. I hope they give on the heels of the Braves winning the World Series and the Georgia Bulldogs going back-to-back national titles and the Hawks being at least fun to, watch and talk about. I really would love the Falcons to join that party.
I will say this: if the Falcons make it, let's say, to the NFC Championship game, that would be akin to the Braves in 2020 making it to the NLCS. Like, nobody thought they were going to make it that far. Everybody felt like that was a year early for them to get to that point. And I feel like if that same thing happens to the Falcons, where they get to the NLC or the NFCS, then I just feel like that'd be like a year too early kind of thing, a year or two too early. Mm-hmm. So if that's as far as they get, I would be ecstatic, But if they were making it to the World or to the Super Bowl, that would be super crazy. Uh, but yeah, I just like it feels different in that I feel like no matter what, this team will be competitive, and will likely be able to pull out some of the wins that last year we were not able to do, um, while also still not getting blown out hardly at all.
Right.
You know?
And that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing is that if you look at certain categories, the only teams that did it better than us last year were the Bills and Chiefs.
Yeah.
Like you look at the Minnesota Vikings last year, all the 1-point games we lost, they won. So
Yeah.
it doesn't it don't, take much.
Yep.
And we can be right in there, And so I'm very encouraged by the direction of the team, by the mentality of the coaches and the front office. Now it's going to be up to the players to execute. Um, the old saying is not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and Joes. It's about both. You got to have good X's and O's, but you also got to have good Jimmies and Joes. And I think we're closer to having that. So,
When you have the good Jimmys and Joes, the X's and O's tend to bounce your way.
yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, y'all, I'm sorry. I'm going to end up crashing the internet with this. I got the Falcons going to Super Bowl and winning this year. I think they
I'm
have.
over here
I
watching,
think
making
that
sure
they
my
have built the team that is hungry. I've always heard the saying, you don't build a roster to win a championship. You build a roster of guys hungry to win multiple championships. They got a lot of hungry guys on this team right now. And I love Mac Hollins' personality.
yeah.
I think it matches Arthur Smith straight up all the way because they're going to all be talking crap, including the coach himself. And he's got guys that finally emulate who he is. And I love that because you take on the personality of your coach, just like you heard Sean Payton telling everybody they can't wear bucket hats, they got to wear visors. Why do you think he's doing that? Because he's setting a mentality of the personality taken after your coach. And so you coming in there with that type of strategy to show that team, hey, y'all got to be like me. We're gonna go out here and win, and we're gonna talk crap while doing it. I'm sorry. If you beat us, you beat us. But while we whipping you, we're gonna talk much crap while we're doing it. And if you want to stop us from talking, shut us up by beating the heck out of us.
Yep.
Point blank.
And I'll say this as far as you bring up the, taking on the mentality of the head coach, it has been noted by more than one people that like Arthur Smith seems to have a different air about him this year.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be a little looser, a little more like energetic himself. Like he knows that okay, we're finally like we finally done dragging that sled uphill,
Mm-hmm.
and now I get to quote unquote not relax, but now I get to enjoy it a little bit more. Willie Doc with the $2. We appreciate you, Willie.
Willie.
He says your lips to God's ears, Toby. That's right. But and out of your Falcon mind says, you're making Mike proud. Mike's always doing the Super Bowl stuff. But yeah, it's from the like finding Orlando Ledbetter for not being at the first couple days of camp. And like that, like showing more of his personality, like
Yeah.
Cortez talking about the the mustache. The mustache thing has been the funniest thing in the facility. It's
The
like
Andy Reid stash.
right. It's like you're seeing more life,
Well,
in
I
the
mean,
team.
yeah, the coaches flat out come out and said like this is the most fun he's had coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so
Better talent.
if the coach is having fun and the players are having fun, that bodes well for people
Yeah.
playing
yeah.
loose for one and not
Mhm.
pressing and this and that and the other. It bodes well.
Like Tony's got a pretty good prediction here. He says the Atlanta Falcons defense will finish 8th in the league.
Woo! Let's go,
Dude,
baby.
that's a huge
That's
jump.
Super Bowl run now, right,
Yeah,
boy?
that's a
Let's
huge
go.
jump.
Yeah, boy. I
King
like it.
says, how are you guys feeling about Smith and Fontenot getting us where we are? Do you think this year they've given us what we've been looking for? And do we give them their flowers if we make the playoffs? If we make the playoffs, there might be like a pound for pound card sent to Flowery Branch, just like saying thank you, because I do think as my no stretch of the imagination do I think anything less of the playoffs means they're on the hot seat. I don't believe that. But you're in a position, and I think they have done a good job to get us in position to be competitive and to be right in the thick of things. We've been right in the thick of things the first 2 years with Smith here, with
Yeah.
objectively worst rosters. So I'm really interested to see what he's what he's going to be able to do with a competent level. Now, it's still up and down on the quarterback. I'm not sold, so to speak, yet. And my wife had said something earlier today. She's like, "Man, people are really hating on Ridder." And I fired off, said, "Anybody who's hating on Ridder at this junction is silly to me, because the man ain't played enough to be hated or loved yet."
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, if and it's the same goes the other way. If there's anybody out there that is absolutely pounding the table, like he ain't in here tonight, or at least I hadn't seen him, but reminds me of Fred Butts. Like, I get it. I'm glad you're excited, but he ain't played enough one way or the other to anoint him or to like slam him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it ain't there yet.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. Something I told you last year, Toby, and I've repeated before. Had Ridder or Mariota hit, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Because what you don't want to be is in, QB purgatory, to where you end up having to pay a fully guaranteed contract to a quarterback that hadn't played in 2 years,
Right.
just so you can get out of it. Like, you don't want that. So I want Ridder to be Ridder. Like, Millie says, Ridder just needs to be Ridder. I've been
Yeah.
on the Ridder train for a while, because I
Yep.
saw
Yeah.
a QB that was a competent QB
Right.
and had a lot of really good traits. Maybe not elite traits, but really good traits. And I think that it's traits that, given the right time, given the right situation, which I'm hoping is Atlanta, is traits that will lead to a long run. I keep bringing it up because I think it's very legitimate. A run like a Kirk Cousins. Like, we don't think about it, but Kirk Cousins has been right around the top 10 for almost a decade.
Yeah.
He's flirted around that. Like, he may not be quote unquote great enough to elevate, a roster, but even then, I still think, I think year 2 under Kevin O'Connell, you're going to see, I think, some good things come out of Cousins. So anyway,
Well,
that's all I'm gonna say.
it doesn't hurt that he's got Justin Jefferson and they added
Nope.
Jordan Ellison.
Addison.
Addison. Yeah.
Addison.
Addison.
Mhm.
I mean, so it doesn't hurt that he added those guys, or that he has those guys. The head scratcher was not bringing back Dalvin Cook, but
Well, that's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Sip Thought says Ridder hasn't shown enough on tape to be great or trash. My honest opinion is, like, he'll be like Peyton Manning, just solely off decision making from the snaps I've seen. Like, at worst, Matt Ryan. If we get a Peyton Manning or Matt Ryan out of third round Ridder, sign me up.
yeah,
Sign me up.
absolutely.
Yeah, dead up. Sign me up.
Like if you get it like early in his career, Peyton Manning had he had the arm. He could make every single throw. He could throw it deep. He could put zip on it when he needed to, but he could also put touch on it when he needed to. The man was amazing from an arm talent perspective, but he married that with like one of the smartest players that from a QB perspective that's ever played the game.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is like you saw it at the end of his career. The guy, from a physical standpoint, didn't have it, but he still had it here.
Oh yeah,
And he could still do enough to win you games, even though he couldn't throw it 45, 50 yards in the air downfield anymore. So Ridder, we know, can throw it that far. We know he has the arm for that. He needs to work on some of the timing and deep ball accuracy a little bit maybe, but we know he's got the arm for it. So the the part that can be fixed, the timing and the accuracy, that stuff can be fixed through a lot of that. It ends up being like footwork and all
mechanics
that,
and timing
mechanics and
and
things
stuff
like
like
that.
that.
That stuff can be fixed up. But if he has the mental side, if he ends up being a guy that's in the mental side of things, like a Peyton Manning is, then like you can succeed with that
For a long time.
for a long time, and it doesn't require you to be a Mahomes, and it doesn't require you to be a Jalen Hurts. It doesn't require you to be that kind of physically elite, gifted type of guy to be a success in the NFL.
Yep. I'll say this first of all, Toby, how many interceptions did Ridder throw last year?
0.
Right. I mean, I know in the Saints game you could say he should have thrown 3. Well, they didn't catch any.
Nope.
They didn't come down with any of them, and he didn't throw any more as the game went, as the weeks went on. So that's interesting to me.
Yep.
MJ
I like
says,
I like this. Sorry. As long as Ridder isn't Joey Harrington, I'm cool with it. And that's absolutely the case. Absolutely the case.
Who knows, right? Let's see. MJ says, do you think Ridder should play the whole first quarter Friday? Get some more game experience, maybe. I don't know about Friday. I think the second preseason game, I would like to see him play either a whole quarter or a whole half. But I don't think that it'd be interesting, especially considering like how the next 2 days of joint practices go.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with Ridder, at least to this point, and really what we've seen if you go back and watch him in college, is he's never been known as a fast starter. So
Right.
the problem we're going to run into is that I foresee happening is preseason comes. Let's just say Ridder gets maybe 2 series this coming week or this coming Friday. If he gets 2 series this coming Friday, okay, then we're looking at the chance that not a whole lot gets done. Like there's not a lot of movement because he's a notorious slow starter until he gets into late second, early third quarter when he really starts to settle in. So the thing I foresee happening is he comes in, plays a series, maybe 2 Friday, and then he's out of the game. Heineke comes in and maybe does a little bit better because now he's going against the twos and so forth. But he does better, and now everybody's like, "Oh, we should start Heineke and all this other jazz." I'm just like, Ridder is just a notorious slow starter.
I'll tell you this, and see if y'all agree with me or not. Next Tuesday, when we're talking about the game afterwards, if anybody's in here talking about Heineke should be the starter, I'm just going to ignore it. Because if Heineke was starter material, he would be starting for the Washington Commanders.
Right.
It's just, it is what it is, Let's see. Tony says, I'm not saying that Ridder is the second coming of Staubach, but I am saying that they have similar skill sets with the same arm strength and tangibles. Plus, they're both great leaders. So, yeah, I mean, time will tell with Ridder, like straight up.
Yeah.
Like we'll know. It sounds cliche, but we'll know by the end of the season whether Ridder is a guy we can build around or not. And if not, then they're going to have to address it because they will be starting to run out of time.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not super worried about it.
But the good thing is like, let's say that does happen. We get to the end of the season and Ridder's just been kind of, it is what it is. He wasn't horrible, but he really didn't show any, flashes. Just doesn't really inspire that confidence that he's going to turn the corner on it. Right. So if that happens, then you start thinking about, okay, do we go somewhere else? Do we go to the draft? Do we go looking at free agency? Whatever it is, what do we do there? Whoever you bring in, whether it's a vet guy or another rookie out of the draft, maybe a more highly touted rookie, because now you go and think like, okay, we're basically one good quarterback away from being a really good team. Because now the team is kind of built around him. right? So if you need to drop somebody else in there, like say a Caleb Williams or whatever, then you can then would be the time to leverage and say like, all right, we're going to give up this draft capital to move all the way up there. And then we're going to make that decision because we believe this guy for real can be the guy of
Like, yeah, right off the rip. That's it.
Yeah.
right off the rip. And so it gives you that ability. Now, would I prefer that Ridder comes out? Maybe isn't like the most flashy guy in the first part of the season, but as we get to the end of that season, you can absolutely see again that progression that we saw from game 1 to game 4 of him playing last year. If we continue to see that style of progress, and he gets better, maybe starting a little bit quicker, gets a little bit better touch on the deep balls. If we see that progress throughout the season, then that gives me more confidence to say, okay, I'm willing to stick it out with him, and we go build, go and reload in the draft. We go get some more free agent guys and so forth and so forth.
My thought there is like, and the one, your thoughts as well on that, Toby, is like, if we see more plays like the, 40-yard dot with Ridder off the ground, throwing it on the move to London, you see a handful more plays like that, or the pulling out of defenders would be sacks and, getting first downs. Like you start seeing like things like that on a regular basis. I want to see more flashes of like playmaking ability.
Yeah.
If we start seeing more of that, then like sign me up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what wowed you about the early of Russell Wilson was those playmaking abilities. You add that to the intelligence that we have seen and heard reported, the leadership. I think those things then will culminate to a successful quarterback. So, but time will tell. Time will tell.
Yep.
All right, I think we're going to start wrapping this thing up. Again, we will be live this Friday, live streaming the game. You can come in here and chat with us, and have a good time as we watch hopefully winning Falcons football game. Then we'll be back live next Tuesday to talk about it with y'all.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, as always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I got to get on Twix. I got to get the bam. There it is. So,
there you go.
Follow me on Twitter at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Jonathan?
At Jonathan M. Holder. Come by, say hi.
Toby?
I have changed my Twitter handle, I believe, or Twix, however you want to call it. So I don't know it just yet because I'm not really on there as much as I am on Thread.
I might as well
So,
throw out your Threads handle if you
it
want
is
people.
it is at Toby Doubted on Threads. So if anybody's on there, you can look for my first and last name, and I should pop up.
There you go. And so yeah, and as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.